I just finished a Zoom interview where I was interviewed by a woman who is running a summit from America. It's an international summit, talking to all of us who have anything to do with helping women heal emotionally, mentally, physically, or anything like that, but particularly around females. And, you know, I was reminded of a hypothesis I first came up with that really has led to the creation of Creatrix and all of the tools really that I produce for in business, and templates and things for measuring and questioning and digging to find out what's really going on in a woman. And one of them was, it wasn't just research results I found around how different the female is to the male. And we all know, don't we? I mean, we know that female is very different to a male consciously. So why has no one really thought that the female would have access to different information, unconscious information, or be running deep unconscious programs? I mean, we're designed hormonally to run a damn uterus, you know, and everything out there about epigenetics is all about 50% sperm, 50% egg come together, form one cell. And that makes up 100% of what is then, you know, created as the baby. But how is that even possible? Because there's a direct feed tube running into that fetus from the mother. The mother is creating the placenta. The mother inside of the uterus, without goal setting, without having a plan, without everything else in that realm of unconscious awareness, even her own issues and so on, that baby forms effortlessly. Now that's inside her body. And Creatrix is built around accessing unconscious wisdom for that of a creator being that would know, you know, the area of our unconscious must know creation. So if epigenetics is true, which we know it is now, there's an epigenetic university in every capital city of Australia. There's over 260 epigenetic scientists, epigeneticists in Australia alone. So they know we inherit conditioning, and therefore we are predisposed to experience whatever we must experience to be validated in that. So then, why doesn't other things work? Why is it, no matter what method you try? I just talked to a woman, right? She's tried Psych K, which is designed by the man himself, Bruce Lipton, in partnership to create Psych K. Even he has not thought about it. And yet it's very strange, isn't it? Because you look, he says, love the guy and all that stuff, but I still believe he's still not understanding what it means for females. Because when he teaches, and I've been to his live teachings, right? I've met Bruce, and he says, well, genetics is studying the DNA. And for the last 50, 60 years in medicine, that's what they studied, right? And they're like, well, you are your genes, because, you know, your genes are either turned on or off to say that you've got a disease or you're going to have a disease or whatever if you inherited that gene. And epigenetics, Bruce even teaches this, right, that they were studying the wrong bit. They took the DNA off the spool and washed it all off, washed all the casing off, washed the spool off. I hypothesize that the female, that spool, which epigenetics finds out that's where all the tags existed, the instruction that tells the DNA was on the spool and the casing of the DNA, right? Well, then, if that was the boo-boo they made, I believe epigenetics is making just as much a bigger boo-boo in their research and the way they see epigenetics, that the female, when they study epigenetics, They're leaving out the uterus, the engine room. They're going 50% this, 50% that. All the epigenetics research is on the DNA, on the male contribution, the dad, and the mum contribution, 50 and 50. Just like you denied the spool, which contained the instruction, you are now denying the uterus, the unconscious realm that knows exactly the history that it's got to put in the DNA, would therefore not be able to be fooled that it's, like NLP, timeline therapy, for example. Ask your unconscious mind, was it before, during, or after your birth? If it was generations back or past lives, how many ago? Just ask your unconscious mind. It knows. Does it? How does it know? It's the same unconscious mind running the damn negative pattern. How does it know? When I first created Creatrix, hypothesized, what if we ask the realm of unconsciousness that would absolutely know 100% for sure exactly when a trauma entered the DNA that is now still playing out as a negative automatic response. And that is what Creatrix was built on. That's why you'll see 100% results, 100% of the time with 100% of the clients that we take on, according to the transformology principles that cause that person to simply just participate fully in the program. So it works even when you don't believe it will work. So it's not a, what do you call it? Where they say it's just because you believe it works, it works. Bullshit. It even works when you don't believe it works. Why? Because I believe it's that thorough. It's that true that it removes it at the source, because we're trusting the unconscious creator information that already knows it. This is why the process is designed for epigenetic breakthroughs that exist don't work on females, and they come back just as much as any other process does. I would even I am going as far as to say the man himself, Bruce Lipton, still doesn't get it. The female realm of epigenetics. I'm the only person I know of that's considered this. And when I first hypothesized it and then created the solution, and it worked every single time, and has since thousands now of times, worked 100% of the time. And up to 8 years ago now, I created Creatrix. It's never come back. That same issue, you will never have to work on a woman with the same issue ever again. But show me any epigenetic breakthrough tool, and some of them claim to have them. Even the man himself, Psych K, does not take that into consideration if he's working with a female client. Why isn't it necessary with men? Because men build their future, they build their thing. They're running their pattern unconsciously. They only need to speak the same language of the male body, metaphorically, to speak to that part which will break that cycle. But female, you must speak metaphorically as if it knows. And it knows exactly where it entered that DNA, that new problem. And our female history matters here as well. But I don't want to mix my messages today. I've really got one message. Females and males are different consciously, and we know it. And I'm telling you, females and males access a different realm of unconsciousness. Now, there's not one guru, brilliant unconscious male guru that is, and I look up to many of them in how they work, but they are all, I'm bold, I know, in saying this, how dare I, you know it all, Maz. But I've just got the evidence in real people, dozens of females that did try everything. They go to all these events. You can sit on a mountain top for 25 years to try and get to what Creatrix helps a woman get to in sometimes 20 minutes on a deep, deep question about an issue she's had that's run 4-5 generations deep, that she knows of, that she's tried everything. She spent over $100,000 on her personal development, and it's gone for good. That, please, can somebody take this shit seriously? so that we can get out there and do our work and set women fully free, finally, for good, and stop wasting our money and our effort on all this other stuff, that you will come back one day because you will find this. Creatrix is the future of personal development and psychology for women, for female beings. And when I say female, I mean born with a uterus, so you have to speak to that realm of unconscious information. It's got nothing to do with battle of the sexes. It's got nothing to do with gender identify. It doesn't matter whether you claim to be any LGBT, GGB, ABCD to right through to Z, all 56 genders. Makes no difference. If you've got a uterus, you must speak to the realm of unconsciousness of that uterus. Anyway, I know that this will fly over the heads of many people. But my sisters, who are on that eternal search for something that makes sense to females, that will work, that's got evidence all over the place. Thousands of evidence. Bring me the worst cases that have tried everything, as long as they're not got a brain injury or something. And as long as they pass our criteria of readiness and rightness, in other words, they've got a stable brain, they're not on mind-altering substances other than maybe just something light, like maybe an antidepressant or something like that, that would be okay. As long as she's not going to alter it later and I can calibrate that brain as it is with it running its automatic response programming, add the uterus program realm of unconscious information, so therefore she's got a uterus, and I'll break that cycle 100% of the time with those people, with those right and ready people. This is big. Bold claims, I know, but all I can do is share what I've discovered and share what was once a hypothesis, that now we're just about to have a facilitator take this on in our 17th country. We're being discovered by people in the industry, but we need to be discovered by everyone. The problem is it's not received very well by males, because you've got to understand personal development industry is predominantly male but not all male, but it is running all male or spiritual, unconscious or conscious tools, but there's not one thing out there that speaks female only, unconscious as well as conscious at the same time, factoring that you are a physical being, not just a spiritual being. So Creatrix sits in the middle between science and spirituality and causes the most profound, irreversible transformations for females who've been suffering mentally, emotionally, running these patterns that they may or may not be recognised as being a bloodline issue. You might just go, well, didn't have it as a kid, but an event happened when I was in grade 8 and this happened, and now I still run that program and believe that about men, or I believe that about this or that, or bullying or whatever, or you've had abuse and you just think it stems from your childhood. All doesn't matter. The tool itself, at the end of the day, must be able to clean out the bloodline, but speak metaphorically to the same realm of unconsciousness that knows, that does, that works in the engine room, our uterus, it works in that engine room, that passes on the epigenetic. So it must speak that language. And that's what Creatrix does. Anyway, I could talk forever about it, but this message won't be for everybody, and that's okay. But I hope that it at least makes you think and awakens a part of you where you could maybe trust Creatrix, where previously you've doubted it's just another modality. It's a twist on timeline. Far out. Timeline. That's a line. That's a masculine thing. Anything in a line is a masculine thing. Okay? Conscious masculine. So the fact that it's going to take trust, it's going to take faith. But just take what I've said. I hope it makes you think, and have a beautiful day.